الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله عليه وسلامه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته أجمعين. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد, عباد Allah, we spoke last week briefly about anxieties and fears and how they can impede and impeach one in their journey through this life and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and thus having success in the hereafter. One of the main root causes of those anxieties, whilst we spoke about the overcoming of those anxieties, let us now talk about the root of that anxiety. One of the roots, and probably the foremost root of those anxieties and those fears, come from the love and the attachment that we have to this world. As long as we don't see everything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a mere mirage, we will constantly be in this state of fear and anxiety. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He poignantly coins the phrase ghurur every time He mentions the dunya. Whenever He mentions the dunya, He always describes it as a deceiver, as a point of deception. Now, if anybody has been deceived in their lives, they know what type of fear and anxiety that causes with regards to the one who is deceiving you. Every time you meet them, every time you see them, every time you're going to do transactions with them, when the government deceives you, you don't look at them with an eye of suspicion. And every time they tell you to do something or no, don't do something, you then look at them thinking, are you guys doing this? Or are you just telling us to do it while you do something else? Thus, there is a lack of trust therein. And that is how the dunya is. وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا إِلَّا مَتَاعُ الْغُرُورِ وَمَا الْحَيَاةُ الدُّنْيَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ إِلَّا مَتَاعُ. Anyway, the whole point is ghurur. That it is just a deception. That the dunya is merely a deceiver for you. What does deception mean? What does ghurur actually mean? It's loosely translated as deception. But the deception here of the dunya is something that never remains. Something that promises you riches. Something that promises you eternity. Something that promises you all the happiness in the world. But every single promise that it makes, it always falls back on that promise. It never ever follows through. It never ever lives on. It never ever remains. كل ما لا يدوم فهو غرور. Everything that doesn't remain with you, then it is a deception and a deceiver. And we know from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He says, كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذو الجلال والإكرام. That everything that is connected to the dunya and around it, and surrounding it, above it, beyond it, will come to an end. It will be destroyed. And nothing will remain except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if we continue to recognize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only thing that remains, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only thing that is constant, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only thing that we can trust, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only thing that we can rely on, then inshallah we will have an ability to overcome these fears and these anxieties that overcome us constantly. In order to instill this in us, we have to be connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on different levels. And in order to connect to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can't just connect to Him in those things that we deem as meaningful and matter to us. Rather, we have to connect to Him in all things, if He is truly the only thing that remains and everything else in this world is going to come to an end. Because it truly is that way. Either it comes to an end in your life, or you yourself come to an end and everything that you had is now gone away. What was I going to say? Sorry. So asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one of the ways in which we can attach ourselves to that, and we can recognize that and instill that in us. And that doesn't mean that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only for the things that we really, really need and really, really want, or we believe that really matter to us. We're about to go into an exam, and suddenly we make all this dua that we were never making before. We're about to, our house is about to foreclose, or we're about to go into, we're about to go into an interview, right? And we're about to get a job. And we don't know whether we're going to get a job. We really want that job because it's got a really good pay packet and really good benefits associated to it and corporate money. Yeah, let's do this. We don't know whether we're going to get that job, so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the bottom of our hearts. We're really making dua, and there's all this ikhlas and so on and so forth. So these things are perceived meaning to us. We attach meaning to these things, so we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rather, we need to attach meaning to every single thing that happens to us in our lives so that we can ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them. Whether it's food on the table, or whether it is a high-paying job that's going to mean success for your family in the dunya. You do not see Musa alayhi salam. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for two things that are great in their essence. But the first thing he asked for is great even just by describing it. Rabbi arini anzur ilayk. Oh Allah, allow me to see you. Seeing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is that not a great thing? Are any of us allowed to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this dunya? No. Is that reserved for the people of the akhirah? Yes. Who is it reserved for? Those people who get into Jannah. Those people that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy on. Those people who are with the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and his companions, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us with them. Ameen. This is reserved for them. This is what Musa alayhi salam asked for. ربي بما أنزلت إلي من خير إني بما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. Oh Allah, I am poor, or I am in need for that which you have sent down to me. What is he asking for here? It's a bit of a metaphor here, but what he's asking for here is some food. He's asking for a bit of bread. Because he's walking in the desert, and he is going to Ahli Madian, and he has no form of provision around him. The small things, food. The larger things, oh Allah, allow me to see you. So as long as we don't have that in our psyche, as long as we don't have that in our own niyyah, our own intentions, where this is a small thing, I don't need to ask Allah for it, right? Just head to the shop and get some milk. Allah, man, Allah doesn't have to, He doesn't need to know about that. I don't need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to provide me milk. It's right there, in all food stores. We don't endorse any companies, by the way. Tesco's if you want, whatever, right? But getting small things, we don't have that concept that we need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for these things because we think that they're readily available for us. We live in a world of such affluence and such readiness where everything is click of a button, swipe to buy now and it's delivered to you the next day. We live in this world where we don't need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for anything at all. But if we have that, then if we have that mentality, that we don't need to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for even the little things, then when it comes to the big things, our wanting and our asking is going to be in need. It's going to be left with holes in it, and it's not going to be the correct way of asking. Rather, there's going to be a bargain between you and Allah. You're going to think that you deserve these things from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the good that you have done. You believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just because you have done some good, that He's going to look over the bad that you've done and is going to do justice with regards to the bad that you've done, and so on and so forth. Abu Hassan al-Shadari, rahimahullah, he said with regards to the قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ النَّاسِ, he read Surah An-Nas once upon a time, and قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِالنَّاسِ مَلِكِ النَّاسِ إِلَهِ النَّاسِ, and it was the words مِنْ شَرِّ الْوَسْوَاسِ الْخَنَّاسِ. What do we seek refuge from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the one who whispers lies to us. And when we read these verses, we always think, me and you as the layman, that the whispering of shaitan is always between men and women, is between us. He's whispering he's whispering enmity and hatred between us. He's whispering jealousy and hasad and so on and so forth. And then we have to seek refuge from shaitan so that we can be brothers one to another, and so on and so forth. Rather, the whispers that he is delivering is much greater than what we perceive as the whispers that he is delivering. Rather, what he's doing is he's whispering to you an animosity between you and the one that you love. And who, as a Muslim, are you supposed to love the most? Allah. And from His creation, who are you supposed to love the most? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So when someone is whispering, they are whispering between you and one you love, so that you split from one that you love. And they whisper to you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to forgive you. It's not going to provide for you. It's not going to be there for you. You need to work hard yourself. You need to seek the means. You need to go out and work. You, by your own intellect and by your own intelligence, are going to be able to achieve these things. Allah is not going to help you. Allah is not going to be able to give it to you. If you ask Allah, why don't ask Him for such small things? Ask Him for great things. And so your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala diminishes, and it becomes something that is, whenever you need, you ask. Whenever you don't need, you don't ask. And when is it that you don't need, brothers and sisters? Are you really in that position? When you really say to each other and to Allah, Ya Allah, I don't actually need you. I don't actually need anything that you provide. But when I do, I will ask. We're not Muslims, brothers and sisters, we are full-time Muslims. But inshallah, let us internalize that, inshallah ta'ala, this week. So that inshallah we have a strong connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When we're able to ask Him for even the little things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He is asked, He loves it. And when He is not asked, He gets angry. When He is not asked, He gets angry. And obviously anger here isn't raising more voices than we're read. The anger here is the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because we love Him. Because we know He's going to give. We know He has the characteristics of generosity. This is why we ask Him. And for His mercy as well. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks Him, and Allah is all those things that we said. Take from the best, and inshallah the best. What has been said, and leave off the terrible that has been said. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم في سائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. وبعد, brothers and sisters, there is an hour in the Jummah. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asked of anything, He says, leave the one who asks Him empty-handed. We don't know when that hour is, we hope and pray that this is the hour in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala answers our du'as for us. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the bottom of our hearts, and with the utmost sincerity, to forgive our sins and to overlook our shortcomings and to save us from the punishment of Allah. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us tawakkul in Him and Him alone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us trust in Him and Him alone. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to see Him in everything and Him alone in everything. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to not be of those who see cause and effects of everything. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to recognize His power and His might. يا رب العالمين ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما يا رب العالمين وصل اللهم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون واذكروا الله العلي الجليل يذكركم واشكروه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون وأقم الصلاة.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله